Good evening, everyone, and welcome to FishEZ. Tonight we're looking at a most beautiful electric blue ram. This male is really primed and ready to go. He's by himself in this tank at the moment, but what I'm planning on doing is putting him with a female when I get her ready, and we have some in quarantine that are just waiting for him. We'll see how it turns out, but good evening, everyone. If you're on a Friday night episode, this is great because we're able to say hello in 2024. Yes, this is 2024, and we're going to discuss tonight some various things specific to what's going to take place in the fish room at FishEZ and Aquarium Biz throughout the year. So we're looking forward to it. Looks like we have some people joining us tonight, and Robert Lucas, Shady Grady. Oh, the team is assembling. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got some nice, interesting fish to show, and we're going to say there's some new fish that we've never seen because we got them just this week. And it looks like we're getting some more people to show up. And I'm not seeing my screen too well. I wonder why not. I can't read. Let me see if my settings are off. Okay. On my phone, I have this. Yes, that's what it is. I have this button that sometimes dims the screen. So there we go. Now I can see the screen. Thank you very much. Dave's Fish Cave, Jeff Pelham's, Aquatics, and Sandy Dowdy is here. Red Laser. Wow, everybody. So what we're going to do is first jump into some of the things that we're going to see now and in the future of the fish room. This year in 2024, we're going to take a look at some new fish. And I'll show you some of those new fish. Hey, Frank Schilling. And I am so happy to see you here tonight. It's good to see you and welcome. And I know it's been a while since I've seen you at any club meeting. I know you've been moving around, but sure, it's great to have you with us live on a Friday night. So behind me are the quarantine tanks for the fish that were picked up last week. I'd like to give you a quick look at it. Yes, Frank Prack or Peel Regional Aquarium Club is going to be meeting in the third Wednesday of every month. It's always good to be part of a local fish club, and there's a lot of reasons why. One is you get great deals from your fellow fish club members, and you also get to be part of a community that gets discounts and so forth. There's just a lot of reasons to be part of a fish club, and some of fish clubs are even they are accessible from remote or Zoom, so that's one of the reasons that they have. So let me show you. I have some things on the floor here. I don't want to trip over them. Just give me 1 second to clear the floor. Okay, there. That's a little better. All right. So I realized I would be tripping over them because I'm not looking where I'm going. So let's take a look at the fish that we got last week and how they're doing in quarantine. I will have to say there's been a few deaths, but actually quite expected. Because you see, up here, the rams, no deaths, they're doing great. You see there's a female, series of female rams. Most of these German blue rams are actually female. In fact, all of them are. Now, look at, for example, 1, 2, 3. These are German blues that we picked up. And the reason why we picked them up is because where they were located, they really were displaying some really nice color. Now, right now, I don't know how much color they're showing. In my camera, I don't know if you guys see the light always comes out really blue, but in real life it's not so blue. But we picked up these rams at a local aquarium shop. So what we want to do is, I would like to see what these really colorful females, they have very intense pink bellies, and I don't know if they're fading in their coloration or it was because maybe at one point they were fed some color food. I don't know. But they were really outstanding. But can you imagine a tank with those German blue rams? And there were probably, I want to say, there were maybe 50 to 75 of them in one tank, and every one of them was female. Look at that one in the back there with the pink belly. That's really nice. Every one was female. Can you imagine a tank full of, they're all females. So I don't know. It's kind of strange because basically I have seen this before where they only sell males or females. In this case, it didn't bother me because we have males, but if somebody was looking for a pair, you know, they're going to get disappointed when they find out they got just females. But why would they sell such a thing? I'm not sure why they would send to the local fish shop just females of German blue rams. The electric blue rams are harder to sex. I think I've got 3 pair, but as you can see, they're nice looking. Here's a male and female. The way the male charged the female and the way the female responded is evidence that they were a male-female. You get kind of used to it because they're harder to sex, the electric blues. But one of the easiest or best ways to sex fish is the same way you sex pigeons. Now, people probably think, well, what's the connection? Well, in pigeons, you don't really look at a pigeon and say, oh, that's a boy. Oh, that's a girl. You can't look at a pigeon and know. But once they get to a certain age, they give themselves away by their actions. A male pigeon will act a certain way, a female a certain way. So Blue Water Aquariums gets the top honor right there. He's right, it's behavior. It's how they react to one another. Because they look at each other and I think they know immediately which is a male, which is a female. They look and say, hey, hey guy, get out of my face, you know, and she responds a certain way and he responds a certain way, or it's 2 girls going at each other, they respond a certain way. You might say even humans are somewhat like that in their behavior. Men are men and women are women. Quite different. Well, these fish have gotten their treatment for quarantine, and now they're just being fed up and conditioned. And for their observation, they're doing very well. Going on to the next group. These are the rosy barbs, the longfin rosy barbs. Rosy barbs are not a particularly difficult fish. Jeff Pelhams, yes, you got all pistos, all male. I've had that happen too. I got McMasteri, and I swear all of them were males. I didn't get any females. We tried out of the group to get a couple females, but we didn't get any. And eventually they kind of died out. But that's why my McMasteri were not any good. But recently, in the last number of weeks and maybe a month, we actually had a group of McMasteri gold red-shouldered, which I think I've shown before. Right now they're at the grow out house. Looking beautiful, and one of the pairs even may be on eggs. They are gorgeous, but the problem is, well, in the case of the McMasteri I had before, all males, but this now, we got actually pairs and plus female. They were pretty easy to tell the difference. With these fish too, they're very obvious. The males get orangey. These are neon red, but they're kind of bland. And so at another fish store, now these were purchased and they've been in quarantine for a little while. They're looking great. They've gotten their treatment of we gave them all the things discussed last Monday night. However, these fish now are just being conditioned up. Now let me turn around. I'm going to show you. And welcome from Montreal. We're looking at Chashur Peshur. Okay, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm sorry I don't speak French. I do speak Spanish. Spanish and English only around here in this household. So turning around, you'll notice that we've got some boys over here. Now these boys are they're not on black gravel. They're, oh man, that literally looks, let me see if I can clean the glass. Hold on a second, let me grab my, I'll get off the ladder a second. This is terrible. I don't know why this is so messy. I'm using what I use to clean my glasses. This little, it has a little alcohol on it. There we go. There we go. That's so much better. I should do that before I do the live streams, eh? So these males, now they were looking a lot nicer in where they were, but they just started quarantine because I got them only yesterday. But I did give them a small bit. Todd River Aquatics is checking in from Australia. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have you ever seen such beautiful long-finned fish? Now, of all the long-finned fish out there, I just have to say something. Some long-finned fish should not be long-finned. And I'll give you a case in point. Tiger barbs. Tiger barbs, I've seen them and I'm disgusted. Because tiger barbs just love to nip long fins. And so it's like, isn't that the irony of taking tiger barbs and introducing a long fin variety on them? But look at these guys. These are not like tiger barbs. Rosy barbs are very peaceful. And when their fins continue to grow and get, wow, it's just amazing how beautiful they flow. And because they're a barb and they're always in the move, the long fins tend to really capture the essence of what it is to have long fins. And you'll notice, look at that tail, not even nipped or broken or anything. They retain their long fins. Now, I will not mix these with my tiger barbs because of that reason. But these are red neon, long finned. And so we got these males because even though we got females from the other shop last week, they didn't have any females with these. So, but this will be a good, they won't be brother and sister for sure. They will come from the same line, but these are just, I love the black tipped fins, and the black, it will become more intense. The red becomes more intense as they get older. So they're in quarantine, they're looking good. I gave them already some blue flakes last night. And blue flakes, for those who don't know it, if you're joining us and you weren't here, the blue flakes are laced with levamisole, so it just makes sure they don't have any worms, internal worms. So they're still just starting their quarantine process. But I thought you would enjoy seeing those. So that's the big change there. Now going over to our hockey sticks. This is the tetra that I selected to do some breeding projects this year. We're going to see if we can multiply their numbers. But first I got to keep them alive. I got to keep them conditioned. And the neat thing about these fish so far, which I've really enjoyed in watching them, is they do stick together. I love schooling fish because that's just my thing. I love schooling fish. Any fish that schools, there's just something about it. When these guys stick together, they just, in numbers. But these are very oddball because they look, you can't see the upper fin, so it looks like they only have like a rudder. Now they do have a tail, but it just looks like a rudder. But they do tend to stick together. They also tend to act like tetras, but then I noticed that these are definitely tank raised because when I go to feed them, I just stick my finger in. Look at them come. They look and they think that there's some food. They get excited. A few of these passed away. They kind of what shall I say? They looked fine. They just died. I think there was a total death of three of them, and we started with 20, so there's probably, I don't know what you count there, but maybe 17 or so. So when you get a breeding project, never get a pair. Always count on a certain percentage of loss because of the transition, and that's what happened here. And I still wanted a good number because they're a schooling fish. They need to be in numbers to be happy. So I want them to be happy. So in this case, I went with 20 fish to start with, and that was good because really, if I start with 16 fish, I'm happy. Remember the beautiful mascara barbs we picked up from Dan's Fish? In that particular one over here, look at them. They school, but they really stick together, and I haven't lost a one, and there's still 16. So 16 is a good number, and there's a reason why 16. I guess most people don't ask me questions. I mean the right questions, but why 16? Why not 18 or make it an even number, or why not 14? Anybody have a guess as to why 16? Fish Fam Link is with us, Outside In Aquatics. Oh, there's so many people with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, I do appreciate the thumbs up. 16 is because, I'll tell you, when you count fish that are moving, give it a try, but you will always be able to count fast and accurate if you learn to count in fours. Seriously, fours. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So usually that's good enough. But if you know those numbers, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. You'll be able to look, and I see 4, 8, 12, 16. So I just now counted them by looking at them. This last time, I was counting actually. So I view the fish in groups of 4. But there's 4, 8, 12, 16. So my eyes allow me to look at like a square, a rhombus kind of look, or see groups of 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, it's so easy. My eyes go. I have found that if you try to add in groups of 5, I've tried it. 5, 10, 15, 20. Well, it's easy to count that way, but when you're counting fish, you're looking for, then as soon as you look for 5, guess what? My mind goes to 3 and 2. So I go look like 3 plus 2 to get 5. I don't immediately see 5. I see 3 plus 2, and then I'm really counting twice as hard. I'm going 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus, and you get confused. But I can't look at them and say, oh, there's 5, 5, 5, and 5. But I can do it in fours. 4, 8, 12, 16. I just did it in my eyes. So you get kind of used to it, but that is the reason why I like 16 fish, because I know how many a fish are supposed to be. I just now counted them. I know they're all accounted for. Everybody's good. And let's just see if they say hello. 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 Well, hi. Yeah, these are friendly. I love these fish. These beautiful mascaras are going to turn into gorgeous fish. Now, looking at the bigger ones, I have since last week put in much stronger flow. I've replaced the filter media, and so they're getting good filtration. These are from a different store. These are all supposed to be mascara barbs. Also, I still don't know exactly what species. Are they Apsara? Are they Asimilis? I really don't know. Yeah, yeah, outside in aquatics. Thank you very much for that feedback. I appreciate your thoughts, but give it a try. I promise you, you'll like it because you'll suddenly realize that counting fish is actually easier than one thinks. Don't ever count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all moving. You'll never do it in time before they've all shifted positions 10 times. But I'm pretty much convinced. I've watched these fish. We've had these for a month or two. They're old enough to breed, but take a good look at them. Does anybody see what I don't see? Is there something in here? Do you see something I don't see? We're going to give it some more time, but honestly, I don't think... You're right on it, Red Laser. There's not enough red because I don't see any males. Blue Water Aquariums gets the spot on answer. Yes, there are no males in this one. And I purchased, I believe, what do I have? I have 4, 8. I think I have, let's see, 4, 8, 9. 4, 8, and then 9. So I have 9. I guess I purchased 10 total. But one died of ick the next day after I got them, and I had to treat them. Now they're all healthy and looking great. But honestly, let me see if I act like I'm feeding them. Step back a little bit. Yeah, I look and look and look, and I don't see any with any male markings whatsoever. And at this size, I feel they should be. I know what has happened. The store people don't know any better, and these people who supplied them with these mascara barbs sold them as a small group. I bought the whole tank. I bought every fish in the tank. And I was there the moment they advertised. I saw an advertisement for mascara barbs, and I went zipping over to my local LFS, and I bought them all. But now that I've conditioned them a little bit, I'm seeing that there are no males. I feel like somebody pulled a fast one and said, look, the males are more valuable. They get the color. I'm going to pull all the males out and sell these off. And they sold them to a store, and look what happened. They give them, and the store doesn't know anything, any wiser. And did they sell mascara barbs? Yeah, they sold mascara barbs. So, fortunately, these guys were way too small to be able to sex, and so I know I must have males in here, and they're even too young to sex now. There's one, to give you an idea, if you look, there's one with a faint bar, not faint, it's sort of like a smudge now, but down the center of their body, all the Dawkinsia genus, they look like tiger barbs when they're very small. They look like tiger barbs. They have stripes. I used to raise tons of filament barbs, same thing. Stripes. But now, when they get older, the middle stripe or the center of their body begins to fade. And and right now it's fading. It's at that age where they're starting to go into maturity. They'll get there very soon, but they've still got a faint, not bar, but they've got a faint blotch down the center. And so to me, that tells me they're still juvies. These are definitely juvies. The ones above that we were just looking at, the larger ones, definitely not juvies. So, and they're all kind of fattening up into a nice body shape of a female. I love these things. I'm going to put, I think we have our future breeders for Odessa barbs. I'm going to put them in this tank also, mix them. I think there's plenty of room here for fast swimming fish. So these guys have a bigger water pusher, shall we say, pushing water, and they've got some, we've got overflow. Not overflow, what do you call it? Canister filter that's creating a beautiful oxygenated stream. That makes these fish super happy. They are from the Western Ghats in India, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, and they are from streams that are highly oxygenated, fast flowing. They are super fast swimmers, and just so you know, when it comes time to fish them out or if you need to take them out, I have much experience with this. Basically, you need to drop the water to about halfway. You just have to do it. You just have to drop the water to halfway. Otherwise, you will never, ever net one of these fish. They're just so fast, and they will avoid the net at all costs. They're crazy. They're absolutely crazy. But they will jump out of the tank. I've had them jump out of this tank. I had one flop onto the back behind the tank through a little crevice because it would rather jump out of the tank than it would go into a net. So, two nets are important, one for stationary and the other one to corral them into the net. That's the best way, but you have to drop the water level, keep it lower because they'll jump and you'll have them all over the floor. And you don't want that because they could hurt themselves. You'll lose them that way maybe. But I could watch these for hours. Anyway. Now, let's move on to some new fish. These are rams. These are rams, the male rams that will go with those females we saw. These are actually raised here at FishEZ. And I brought them in. Let's see if I can focus on them. There's no light up there. Let me just turn the light on. Maybe it might help. But especially with the focusing. Where's that switch? Let me see if I can reach behind here. Find the switch. Okay, what do I do with the switch? I don't see the switch. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to... As you can see, this is what I'm trying to do. Okay. This is the light right here. I don't think there's a switch on here. Oh, there it is. I see now. Okay. We're going to get the light going here up on those things. I had turned it off because of the new fish, but I'll turn it on for you guys. Okay, I lost it. What happened? There it is. There's the... Okay, yeah, got it. Click. Okay, got it. All right, let's turn the light on. And come out, and now the light is on. But look at these males. They're very nice. These are my breeder males. We have them separated. They're looking good for maybe putting with those females and see what we get out. Now, the new fish are right next door, but they're kind of hiding. Maybe turning the light on is a little hiding. Anybody want to take a guess as to what we now are going to be working with? There you go. There we go. New fish being quarantined. And again, I just bought the whole tank. There were 7 fish total. 4 females and 3 males. This is the way you start a breeding project. You don't expect 100%. You have to expect that there's some losses along the way or things that don't work out well. Anybody know what these are? Sandy says a crib. Anybody want to confirm? And Mayor is so sure. He has super chatted $20. Thank you so much. Mayor, you are just wonderful. And I keep trying to get you to accept my Facebook friendship. Hopefully you'll see it one of these days. Pelviochromis is more accurate. Yes. It's not a true cribensis. It's a Pelviochromis. It's a Pelviochromis. Now, right now, they're kind of scared. I put a lot of hiding spots. That's the purpose of the shipwreck. And also several things in the back. The fish have plenty of places to hide. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. And the name of these fish are... Well, Stubbs Aquatics has finally got here. Maybe he can tell us what on earth are these fish. So far, we know they're Toviachromis. Any idea? If you really want to know how to tell the difference in the species, always look at the female, of course. In the Pelvichromis, which means like pelvic, across the pelvic, you got chromis, which it means color, right? The color across the pelvic area, Pelvichromis. Look at, it's the males that usually don't look as nice, but the females, oh, when they're in condition, look at that female. Oh, she just flashed. You see that? Nope, not Rolofi. But you are a good guesser, Blue Water Aquatics. You're so close to it. Here it is, 3, 2, 1. They are the subocellatus. Subocellatus. Pelvichromis subocellatus. And they were quite beautiful in the tank. We got them now that they're going through quarantine. I just turned the light on, they kind of hid. And so you're wondering, what are the bubbles? Well, the first step when I bring fish home is always to put in the tea tree oil, or in other words, the Melafix by API. That means when they're netted or they got scrapes on their skin, the tea tree oil does wonders. And it's a very natural substance. It's very, you can even put it on with fry. You can, it's one of those nice medications that everybody should have on hand for helping fish heal up after they've got a little scrape. And it really does wonders. You don't want it to develop into something that might be fungus, bacterial, or anything like that. It's a natural antibiotic. The tea tree or tea tree oil. Yeah, these are the new ones right there. Oh, see, I step back and they kind of come out a little bit. I will throw some. Let me just throw some. I'm gonna, with my left hand, I'm gonna grab some. I'm gonna do a trick. I'm gonna grab some baby brine shrimp, because you know what that does. You throw a little baby brine shrimp in a tank. Okay, we'll just take some baby brine shrimp and we'll tease them. Look at that. See what they do when they sense it's in there. Take just a second for the tea tree oil, for the baby brine shrimp to kind of come out all over. Here they go. See if they notice anything. Let me put the camera. There we go. Look at it. Hold the camera still. Suddenly they see there's food to be had. Yeah, that's a little trick to get them out. They look like they're nice fish. And so our breeding project, if you're going to raise some, okay, if you have 1 or 2 pair, but 3 pair is a perfect number to get started in a breeding project. Right now, it seems that the market is for dwarf cichlids, and they're all asking for them. Oh, there's the female. Look at that female there. She's got a pink belly. Isn't that funny how oh, they're all gone. They're all in the front now. She got more of a pink belly, but I've seen when they get the color, the females will show a almost super purple body. If you might want to look up the subocellatus, Pelvichromis subocellatus, and see some really astounding pictures of what these fish will look like. These are young fish. They're not really ready to pair off. I did notice it didn't take much for them to get settled in, and they were all over the front glass just begging. So They're not skittish at all. It's kind of a good thing. And good news is, not to change the subject, but just to mention, I was able to save some of my Magna, Daphnia magna. And so we have some in here. Let me turn on the light, see if you can see. Can you see them? There we go. Yeah, I got some Daphnia magna. I was able to, I realized I had a tank or two at the bottom on the floor of the fish room. So I didn't lose them while I was away in California. And I didn't lose them. So now I'm building them back up. On Wednesday or Tuesday, I have some interesting, exciting news. Let's see what we can see here. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. You know what this is, don't you? Stir them up a little bit. There we are in the back. See if I can zoom in. See those fish? Fry? Good news. It's been since last June that we had our last spawn. But now it looks like they're back in business. So we had a full moon. And the full moon brought on a new spawn of catfish. These are the Lucipinnis. I'm so excited that they're back in business because we still have a few Lucipinnis for sale. Not many though, we're running low. So this is great that we have more coming. Yeah, looks like a nice little batch. So I'll keep working with these. Lucipinnis these were not bred by these Lucipinnis, but I do have two colonies. One that I breed from, and these Lucipinnis in here have not been bred. I have not been collecting eggs. I know they're breeding, I should say, but no, I haven't collected any eggs from this tank. They're like a backup. Colony. They were produced by two different individuals. This colony is made up of half and half, 6 and 6. 6 of from one individual and 6 from another. So they're not necessarily brother and sister. The ones I got that I breed from actually came from the wet spot in Oregon. And I grew them up myself. Took a few years. And I've had these fish. I love Lucipinnis because they don't get bigger than what you see here. And they don't get bigger, but they are, if you can see behind the mascaras, they're spotted. Some of them are really nice. Some are a little darker. There's one popped out. They always pop in and out. But they're an interesting fish. One just moved. They go swimming from side to side in, little cave to cave. They always have to be near the rocks. They're a Lake Tanganyika fish. And so they're used to the rocky outcroppings, and they breed within the rocks. They're an egg scatterer. And they're fun. Now, I can bring them out. I could probably just throw some food in there, eh? Let's just see what happens. Let me try the bug bites. Yeah, let's see if I can get the bug bites open with one hand without dropping the phone. No, I can't do it. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. All right. We're going to throw in, let me throw in a half teaspoon. Now, the mascaras are going to go crazy, but let's give it a try. And I'll do 1 teaspoon because I want enough to fall down to the bottom where the catfish will suddenly sense that, because if I don't, these guys are going to gobble everything up. But here we go. They're coming out now. Once they know it's feed time. There's a female. She's plump. There's that was probably a male sticking his nose out. Males are smaller. They're smaller. They never get real plump. But I love the Lucipinnis. So that's a fish that easy to care for. The only thing about Lucipinnis is you can't do major water changes without using very seasoned water. They're very susceptible to chlorine. It doesn't mean it kills them. They start acting strange. They start jerking around and going crazy when it comes to chlorine in the water. So they detect when there's chlorine. Well, that's one big mama there. There's a long-finned ancistrus there, kind of standing. But the fish are going in and out of their little multi-hold cave. I think most people try to get the lighter ones, but they have beautiful markings. Their tails, all their fins are marked with with white tracing along their fins, and makes them a beautiful catfish. There they go. I also found that I have another. Let's go look at the. We're going to go take a look at the colony that I breed from. And what I've done here is kept the blue light on. The blue light is subdued light, right? It's not as bright. So these Lucipinnis come out in the blue light. So they're out and about, constant in the move. And at the same time, I threw in some glowfish to be companions, and they are great companions because they also are light sensitive. Their eyes kind of makes them scared. If you look at, for example, the glowfish down here, they hide in the corner, and they hide. Those are the glowfish, bigger, older. But these are some younger ones, and they're in blue light, so they're all out and about. Okay. Look at the Lucipinnis. In this colony, I think there's a male right there. That was a skinny male. In this colony, I don't have any food handy. But if you want to see them all come out, I can do that. Watch. I'm going to just pick up the lid. I'm going to pretend I'm putting food in and see what happens. They get excited. They'll even come up to the surface to eat. They chase each other, they do their thing. There's a male right there. Smaller and not fat, and it's the males that you need to have some good males to, drive the females into spawning. It seems like the Lucipinnis, the females are the big ones, and they're more of a in control kind of fish. Okay, let me just give it a pinch of food. I'm going to show you what happens. I had to reach for the food, but I got a pinch now. I got the bug bites, so we'll put a half a teaspoon. Yes, as a matter of fact, we do have a turtle. Levi Cox is asking about a turtle. We do have a turtle. It's a Chinese turtle, and we're looking for a home for it. So let me pour that in and see what happens. Boom. Comes straight down. And we are going to see craziness. As soon as the fish realize, catfish realize, here they are. They're all coming out. And they will stay out. Look at them. This is the colony. There's about 10 of them in here. in this colony as well. Wonder what would happen if I turned the light on brights. Let me just see. Yeah. See if they stay out. They disappeared. Let's just see if they come back out. Just wanted to give you guys a good look at the Lucipennis. It's like they're hiding. They come out for a bite, grab a nibble, and go back into hiding. Yeah. But these tubes provide all kinds of methods. This is the egg trap. And since we're here, we may as well check for eggs. I don't think there will be any, only because they spawned, what was it, 4 days ago? Earlier this week, maybe Monday. But this is how I do it. I'm just going to remove the lid. I have to do this regularly at this time of the year, well, this time of the month, because we got full moon. We're just leaving a full moon right now. And we're just going to move that over. And this is the egg trap. It's like grilled top, and then there's a bunch of marbles to hold it in. And then we just pour it in here. So I'm going to hold my hand over, and I'm going to just pour the water out. And look, if there's any eggs, you'll see them. That's food pellets. Probably the ones I just put in there, huh? Yeah, those are not eggs. Eggs are more round, clear, but very, very obvious when you got eggs. No eggs here. I also use a flashlight. It really makes it easy to see if you have some difficulty seeing. So I'm just going to turn the flashlight on. You can do it this way, and you can see that there's no eggs. The eggs are about half the size of these pellets. They hatch in 24 hours. So sometimes I've poured out the container, and you know what I get? I get wigglers. Then it takes 3 days for the yolk sac to dissipate. And that's what you saw over there. They're not really eating yet, even though I had put some food. Now, since I know there's no spawn, I would flush this several times if there was a spawn to try to make sure I get them all out. But I'm just gonna. That's what it looks like. I'm just gonna put that. I usually put it in the back so they can go in and out from there. And those are the things that we've got going this year. Let's take a moment to see. We have that one turtle. His name is Bob, and we're looking for a good home. It would be nice if we found a good home for Bob. And we don't know. Yes, dwarf petricola is another name for Lucipennis, because the two species are almost identical. The difference is the Lucipennis don't grow any larger than what you saw here. But I do have a friend in Mississauga who has the actual petricola, and they grow much larger. And those look identical, just bigger fish. And petricola are usually the ones sold in the stores, but you really won't be able to know. There's actually a technical difference between them. It has to do with a pore on the side of it. It's the technical difference between the two species is so minute and so hard to tell apart that you really can't use that as a reason or as an identifier. So, what are we going to be doing this year? Well, yes, Sandy knows. What temperature and pH are you keeping your blue eyes at? Okay, Blue Water Aquariums is asking a very good question. Because they're a rainbow fish, I actually keep them at the pH of my tap water. So I don't try to lower the pH for them at all. I just have them in tanks where the pH can be used as tap water, and around here in my area the pH is 7.8. It can range anywhere between 7.8 and 8. I mean 7.5 all the way up to 8, so we're somewhere in there. Temperature, I try to keep the tanks, I haven't noticed a big difference on, they spawn whether they're in 78 or 80, so right in that range, 78 to 80 Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that is in... Alexa, what is 78 degrees in Celsius?
78 degrees Fahrenheit is about 25.56 degrees
25.5, so 25.5 to 26 or 7. So in Celsius, that's what it would be. And basically, they're not very, very difficult. They're not very difficult to breed in most any water, because a lot of them come from harder water. Thank you, Chris. And let's see, I have dwarf ones. Do they need brackish water? You have dwarf ones. Are you talking about the dwarf petricola? They're definitely not. No, I'm not sure, Shady Grady, which you're referring to, dwarf what, but there's nothing brackish water in these. Lucipinis, probably. And by the way, when you bought them at the store, they probably sold them as petricola. They probably did. The mascara barbs have not grown any filaments on the dorsal. And from what I understand, the mascara barbs do not get filaments on the dorsal. They're more like the Rohani barbs. And the filament barbs, which really grow long filaments, which are black spot barbs, will get them. And I don't know about your barbs, which are also Dawkinsia. I'm not sure if they get the filaments. I think they do, right? Hydra. No, Sunny, I have not actually kept Hydra in a separate tank. The spelling, it's Synodontis. It's not S-Y-N-O, Syno, and then Dontis like you have. Synodontis. Yeah. Maybe somebody's already mentioned it, okay. So, how do I keep the green water aquarium? Well, this green water is my food for my Daphnia, and I grow it in a 2.5, and it's very simple to do. And I keep the green water aquarium because, in fact, I'm going to feed the Daphnia tonight. If you're interested, I will show you how I do that. I have these are 2-liter containers. So I put them down below. And then I put, let me see, I'm going to get another one over here. And these are all the things I need. I need a place to put the 2-liter water. I do use this. Now, I'll explain to you why I use a 16 micron filter. This is it's like linen material. It's a super fine. I'm going to filter that water. The green water goes right through. Green water is super small. The algae that's floating in this container is super small, and I need a siphon tube. So I'm going to siphon it out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to siphon out Aurelius, yes. So they do have long filaments. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I don't think the mascaras get any filaments, but that's not to say they're of the same genus. So if one starts to develop one, and I've also read something that was interesting. And just while we're on that subject, before we move on to the demonstration, I just wanted to mention that I was reading an article that just came out in the more latest Tropical Fish Hobbyist on the Dawkinsia Dawkinsia genus. I don't know if you saw that one. It's a very good article, but there were a couple of things in there that I read and I didn't know, but I was it's, to me, seemed a little suspect. So they were saying a couple of things about the genus. Like, for example, there's been this discussion, I've been going over it for years. They later took the mascara barb and divided it into two. And then I understood they took one from one river and one from the other river because there's quite a big a difference. But what I didn't know was some of the history. And in this article, they specifically said that for years they've had the two mascara barbs. One, which is Asamilis, and the other was called Asamilis red morph. Red morph. And, I'm thinking, but then they more recently divided and took the red morph and they put it into its own species. And that's called the Dawkinsia apsara. Apsara is the species, so if you look up that. So also the common name red necklace barb. Because on the lateral line there will be red spots that makes it look like it's wearing a red necklace. And that's the red morph. In other words, the apsara, which is what I'm searching for, but which I don't know if I have. It's possible that the females I have were because somebody knew that they were red necklace and they were the red morph and they just took out all the males. That could be. I don't know. But there's no question that they'll cross with each other. But the red morph has this outstanding red to it on the red fins and also the red necklace that comes in when they're in breeding condition. So we'll see. I'm anxious for my tank raised ones, the smaller ones, to get that red necklace. Okay, so we're ready. So all I do is I'm going to just fill up these tanks. These containers I have below. Now, sometimes little bugs start to grow in there. Sometimes you'll get maybe, what do you call those little crustaceans? They're called seed shrimp. Seed shrimp. And they're just like little, I have a bunch in that other container. They're like little balls that just kind of move around. Tiny little things. Fish will eat them. Not all fish will eat them, but most fish will eat them. Which is not a problem. But I like to have pure green water. So when this turns dark green like it is right now, I'm ready to go. And so I put the end so that's in the middle of the water. I'm not trying to get any algae on the edges. And I'm just going to put it in the middle and kind of hold it there. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the 2-liter bottle through the filter because I want to get any seed shrimp out. The other containers I can just fill, I don't care, because they're going into with the Daphnia, the live food tanks. It's draining down. Okay, now I got 4 liters, 5 liters, and 6 liters. Okay, 6 liters. And the tank, as you can see, is draining down to here. Now, I really need one more container, but let me show you what's happening over here. So I'm going to put it down like that. So I filled up these. This one I filtered. This one I did not. This one I did not. So what I'm going to do is down here in these tanks, these are the 2 Daphnia tanks. The light turned off. There was a light normally on them. But this is where I found the Daphnia. And so they do have Daphnia in there. Yeah. Now I'm going to take one of these containers. And I'm going to feed my Daphnia green water. Okay? But it turns out they're filter feeders. So they not only eat the green water, but they also, I understand they eat the bacteria from the loam at the bottom. So if these tanks look a little grody, it's because they're kind of designed that way. They're designed to be. Now they're a little more murky, of course, and it'll clear up in a day or two, but they'll have plenty of food and they'll start multiplying in mass. I bleached this tank over here because it had leeches in it after the black worms situation. And I'm going to clean this tank out. This will become my 20-gallon Daphnia magna tank, and it will be really nice. But right now I got to clean it out and change the water, and then I'm going to use all this muck from this tank here. I'm going to clean this tank out. This used to have the L134s, but we took them over to the master pleco breeder, Aqua Malik. So that's what I'm going to use for the Daphnia tank, all this. And then I'm going to finish. Let me finish this before I tell you any more. Let's see if I can, I don't know if I can give you a shot, a camera shot. Let me see if, are you looking at the ground, or let me see if I can pinpoint what you're looking at. Okay, so I can't get too close without, okay, here we go. You can see what I'm doing right there. Now I'm going to fill up one more because there's still water in the tank, and I want to get all the tank out, okay? So, let's see if I can get it. No, it's not able to. There we go. If I can get most of it out. Because this is green water and I don't want to throw it away. There, okay. So this is my system. My system works really good at generating green water constantly. So I've got another little bit. I'm going to put that down here with the remaining in the tank with the Daphnia. This water here, though, as you can see, I filtered it out and it picked up some crud, but yeah, I don't see any live creatures. But in case there were, they would get filtered out. This is pure green water filtered. That's what I'll use to reset or start a new one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what, let's see if I can turn the camera around here now. So I'm going to just take the tank, and it's full of algae on the walls. I don't want the algae competing with the green water. That's the ticket right there. So I'm going to take the tank out, and I'm going to wipe down the walls and everything that was in there, you see. Okay, so I have this glass top. And I do provide a little bit, just a hose here, and all it does is just a little bubble or two, because I don't like any tank or any water sitting around, even though you saw it down there with the Daphnia. I like to be able to put a little bubble, break the surface tension, and the important thing is that it just creates a nice clean surface so that there could be exchange of anything. It could be oxygen, it could be getting rid of the carbon dioxide, whatever. But I'm going to take this off now, off the shelf, and I'm going to go take it to the sink, and I'm going to clean out all this. Of course, there's a little bit of green water left, which I can feed to the Daphnia. Look at the bottom here. See that green? That's not green water, that's algae. So by cleaning this out and doing that, I'm going to set it up really nice. Now, just turn the camera, you can see me. What's next is over here. Okay, I'm at the utility sink. I don't know if I can get it to go lower without dropping my camera. Yeah, it's my utility sink. So I'm just going to clean it out now with some scrub walls. Now, I might not actually scrub the walls every single time. If the algae is very minimal, I might just skip that process every other time. But whenever I see algae, I do want to get rid of it. So I don't want competition for the green water. I want to put in some water, fresh water, green water starter, which we filtered a 2 liter. And I want to put in the food necessary, so I use liquid fertilizer. And that's all I need to do, and I'm going to have green water in 3 or 4 days. Another batch. So I'm using 2.5 gallons. I don't know how many liters that is, but we just counted it out. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, over 4 liters. It's almost 4.5 liters, right? We got out of this tank. So I'm just wiping down everything. Makes the tank nice and clean. Smooth glass. Because green water, the algae you can never get rid of, but I try to keep it at bay. I want the green water to do its thing. Okay, so there's all my 5 sides all cleaned up. And rinse. I just have a hose here in the fish room, and voila, now I have a clean glass and I'm ready to go. So let's turn around, take another look at what I'm doing. Okay, so this is what I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do here now is just put the tank in place. I'm going to add my filtered green water, 2 liters worth. There we go. Looks like 2 inches on the thing. And then I'm going to put in liquid plant fertilizer, 1, 2, maybe 2.5 squirts. That's all I need to do. And so there's a lot here. It'll last a long time. And then I can just fill it up with water. Now, the water I'm using, I don't like to use chlorine. I'm not going to use tap water, obviously, right? You know, tap water. I'm going to use water that's been aerated and treated for 24 hours. So I'm going to open up, pump in the water using my handy dandy refill pump. And that's it. So we're watching the water rise. Now, as you can see, I'm diluting it, right? Because I put on, there's only 2.5 in, so I could get away with even a 1/2 liter. I mean 1 liter, those are 2 liter bottles, right? I could get away with just 1 liter of green water, concentrated green water, and that's all I need. This needs to be wiped. I don't know why it gets kind of grody. So I'll turn off the pump, turn off the valve. I'm finished. And I'll show you what it looks like in just a sec. Let me get something to wipe that with. This is a little maintenance just to keep the algae from just, taking over. I'm trying to limit the amount of algae that gets out. So this little tube is just set for like a little bubble. Yeah, there we go. You can see how much bubbles it's producing. I don't know if you can see, you can't see that yet, but I'll show it to you in a second. Because we're going to turn the light on. So then I'm going to take my glass plate. It's got fertilizer, it's got the glass plate, put the light over it, and the light has been off. I'm going to put it on. Okay, so there it is. It actually still looks green. That must have been pretty concentrated. I probably could have gotten away with more, but here's my bubble. That's how much. You see the bubble now? You can see it right up in here. You can see the bubble. It's just a bubble. It's not much, just to break up the surface. So that's it. Green water. That will be super dark in 3 days. I can do the whole process again. And that's how that took a few minutes, but that is, let's see if there's any questions, because I think I just gave you the whole green water treatment. Now my Daphne are fed and they're happy. Okay, going back, okay, here we are. Water changes, okay. Ryan is, welcome Ryan. Yeah, this method doesn't use, I don't use fish waste at all. I use a squirt of a bottled liquefier, and so I know that there was some money or cost involved, but since I buy it in the largest container that you can get, and then it lasts forever, so I'm not worried about a squirt or two. And then that way, the green water I'm using is really good. Green, okay, Ryan, but green water is an algae. Yes, it is an algae, but it's a different kind of algae. Now you have different kinds of algae in your tank. Some are brown. You've ever seen the diatom algae? It's not real algae. It's different, right? It's brown. Then you have green algae, right? And that's a different kind of, and then you have blue-green algae, right? They're all different species of algae, right? If you have a tank and you have all those species combined and everything's growing at once, guess what? One will take over because they're competing for the same nutrients. Well, green algae is actually a floating algae. It does not adhere itself to anything. So that algae we saw on the walls is not green algae. It is, well, that's very interesting. You just caught me saying it. It's green algae, right? But the green algae that I'm talking about is the floating green algae. So maybe I shouldn't call it green algae. I should call it floating green algae. It does not adhere itself. Have you ever seen a pond and one day, you know, gets a lot of sunshine, and have you seen a pond that you can't see the fish because of the green? That's not because green algae that's growing on the sides of the rocks and the walls and, you know, on the ground. That is green floating algae, a different species altogether, and it's taken over because it can. It's another way of nature being able to, you know, survive. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to breed here, because I'm feeding it to Daphnia, and it's a floating algae. So floating algae is something that the Daphnia, as filter feeders, get right out of the water. So they're eating the green algae out of the water. They don't go and scrape the side. That's the job for your ancestris plecos, right? They're scraping and rasping on the walls of your tank. Different. You don't want them competing against one another. What would happen is possibly the green wall algae might take over, get all the nutrients out of the water, and then the green floating algae might not be able to survive that, and it might die out. And you know, I don't want it to die out. So that's the answer to your question or your concern, and that's why you have to remember. So yes, it's promoting green water, but it's promoting green floating algae in the water. Yeah, thank you very much, Sandy, for the reminder of the thumbs up. Yeah, we've had quite a few. This is one of our biggest nights. I don't know why, but it's 34 people connected right now. Thank you very much for joining FishEZ, and we've been discussing and talking about different things. Red Laser says, I assume they are the Dickensia assimilis with the red chain. Well, that's what I was telling you. The assimilis is the mascara barb, but the apsara is the one with the red chain. So, you know, I know that Brett's and he's got mascara bars, very clear, beautiful now. They're just gorgeous. The most. He took them with him to Florida. I don't know how he did it, but you know, he managed to get them all moved to Florida with him because, of course, I think people with true mascara barbs, once they have a beautiful tank of them, I think they're so enamored that they would never let them go. That's why they're so hard to find. But you know, the Rohani and the Meocola do not have the raccoon look. Yeah, that mascara smudge at the eye is the raccoon look. So, spirulina powder is a different, that's blue-green algae that is in powder form. It's dead, it's died, it's not live. You buy it in powder form. It's been dried, and it's a food source. And does it help green water? I don't think so. I don't think that algae eats algae. I think the algae is eating the, what's in this stuff, right? You know, you look at the ingredients of a potassium, it's derived from potassium nitrate, potassium phosphate, magnesium sulfate, boric acid, and sodium molybdate. You know, Frank, you're the one that's if you're still connected, Frank, you know, maybe you can comment on that question, because I know you're a plant guy. I mean, he's our plant specialist. Live aquarium plants, he knows. So if you want to comment on that, you know, obviously I'm just saying that my understanding is that powdered spirulina is a blue-green algae. It's dried and it's used in that form for human consumption, also for various other consumption, because what you do when you feed Daphnia the blue-green powder or the spirulina powder is that you have to kind of like put it into a floating aspect, and you get it really floating good, and it's floating because you're stirring it up and it's suspended. It's like an emulsion. It's being suspended in the water, and then that'll enables the Daphnia to filter feed. So they're doing this filter feed, right? They're like very similar to a shrimp as it does, but that's how they're eating. Shady Grady, I confused him. Sunny. I didn't know that fertilizer was okay to use. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's how I do it. You know, plants need fertilizer. So remember, all plants must have fertilizer, and that's why they do good in planted tanks, because people give them fertilizer, but if you have them with fish, the fish provide the fertilizer, and plants have to have fertilizer. They need those ingredients, you know, they need to have something there. Mikes don't have the bullseyes on the tail fins. Mikes. Is that referring to me or some other mic? Because mine have the red and black spots on the lobes of the Dickensia, if that's what you're referring to. Or you're referring to the, remember, subocellatus. Ocellatus means eye. Ocellatus means eye. So, you know, in Crebensis, you know, that species, they have these eyes, these little circles in the dorsal and in the tail fin. That's the trademark. So Ryan keeps the turtles indoors for the winter, and just happened to, and just so happened to boom a Daphnia too. Oh, yeah, we bought them from Dan's about a month ago. Oh yeah, Shady Grady, that's right. You got some mascaras also from Dan's. You got up the same group, right? How come I never get to see yours? I mean, come on, I want to see them. Send me a picture. Steve Marvin asks a beautiful question that I've always wondered myself. A lot of times people say, green water is great for baby fish. And can it be used for small fry? And the answer is yes, they can be. Um, I might try it. I haven't tried it so much because I haven't been so excited to put green water into my tanks. But it's very controllable. So, for example, if you get a green water tank, in other words, you put green water into the tank, and then of course it blooms and makes lots of green water. Yeah, the fish, if they eat, I don't have fry that usually like to eat a lot of veggie type substances, but the barbs will eat the green. So I think that's a really good choice. In fact, I might even try it for an experiment because we're going to get some things going. In fact, I want to get into that subject real quick very soon here. Phytoplankton, yeah, phytoplankton. Does red laser have mascara barbs? No, it does not. In their display tank. Okay, that would be nice. If you can get some pictures of that, send them to me. I love to see pictures of mascara barbs at what stage they're at and so forth. The best ones I've seen online have been, in fact, the mascara barbs LR Brett's. So he's got some that I saw him in the background. He doesn't talk about them much, but you saw him in the background. I was like drooling. I was like, wow, those are so nice. And I'm not even convinced. I haven't even convinced myself. I haven't proved otherwise because I have these tank raised ones I have right here. I don't know that Dan's Fish didn't get them from LR Brett's. I really don't know that. Does anybody know where they came from? How about you? Shady Grady, do you know where yours came from? Who was the tank red? Who produced these mascara barbs? Can't we get a picture of the parents? I mean, that would be really nice. And if they did come from LR Brett's, well, the bright red dot with the black ring around it. Are you talking about the lobes of the tail? Where is this red dot with the black ring around it? Yeah, thank you. Please send me the pictures. Anybody can actually send me an email. Just send it to contact@fishez.ca. That's where you can find me on my YouTube channel on the contact page. It's contact@fishez.ca. That works. Thank you, Frank. And the Medaka fry thrive on green water. Okay, so yes, many fish do. Now, I didn't finish my thought. When a tank gets overcome with green water, how can you get rid of it? Water changes. Just start trickling and keep changing the water until it's gone. It works great. I've gotten rid of green water that way. You just keep flushing it out. It may take a little water, but oh, it's on the tail. Well, I've never seen the black all the way around. I'm looking at them now, and I've always understood it to be there is a red bar and a black bar, and they're like two little bars that are on the lobe. And they're not really dots, although you could say it's a dot, but I've always taken it as the tail goes up and hits the red and then hits the black and then hits the tail again. So the tail being clear, that is. So it wasn't LRB. How do you know it wasn't LRB? Do you know who the source of these fish are? Did you ask? If so, include that in your email. I would love to know. Thank you so much, Shady Grady. And so, let's talk about the last thing tonight. I do appreciate the super chats and everything that's come in, so thank you so much. But what's in store for 2024? Well, I have to admit there's a lot of exciting things to go, and since we're at the tail end and everybody has stayed to the end, there's a lot of people. We're going to announce that we're going to do a something different. We're going to have a local fish store tour, and it's going to be a Big Al's. I won't tell you which one. Scarborough, Vaughan, Brampton. I won't tell you which one it's going to be, but it will be probably next week, maybe on Tuesday. I'm not sure when it will be published, maybe soon after that, or very quickly after that, or maybe live, I don't know. But this is going to be a quick tour of their store, and it's a nice store, and it's where I picked up some of these fish that you saw. And also, it's going to cater to show some of the, what is it? It's going to be some saltwater too. They have some great saltwater displays. So coral and everything. It's going to be the full fish tour, but it's going to be in conjunction with Aqua Malik. So we're going to be doing a live stream and then live stream between the two. And so both of us will be engaging, so it will be interesting. We're going to be kind of like, I don't know if we're going to be doing it at the same time, or I'm not sure how it'll work out, but we're going to try. And so bear in mind, next Tuesday, I'm just talking it up a little bit, letting you know there's something in the works for that. Hopefully it'll pan out. If not, we'll let you know if there's any change of date. But it should be exciting. And to see all kinds of neat fish and stuff. So that's what's going on. But in the fish, here at FishEZ or Aquarium Biz, we've got some huge orders. Honestly, we've almost sold out of fish, and we've been selling everything. And you know, the good thing is that we still have lots of black rams, but they are going like hotcakes, and we still have plenty of them, and coming up. So we're not going to run out. We're going to be trying to supply. Hopefully this year we're going to supply all of Canada. So stay tuned on that. Also, it turns out that we've got some of the Epistos. You saw tonight the Pelichromis subocellatus. We've got the McMasteri, red-shouldered. We've got some of the really nice forms. And of course the rams. We've got electric blues, beautiful electric blues in the works again. And the German blues, rams are good. We're going to have discus, some beautiful discus. We're going to keep, hopefully, personally, if these beautiful mascara barbs turn out to be what they turn out to be, my goal is to make them available to everyone. That is my goal. It's not something I'm going to keep to myself. It's not like a L.R. Brett's thing where, you know, every 6 months he's got a few for sale because they just naturally pop up in his tanks, right? Because he's got these planted tanks. No, I would like to actually, we're going to put it together an egg trap and show you how I did it. When I was in California, I produced hundreds and hundreds of filament barbs, and very, very enjoyable to do. They're great fish to work with, but they're easy and they're very common. But the mascara barbs, no. But I'm also very attuned to getting the right mascara barb, and I really want to get the red form, red morph, or red necklace, or the Apsara, whatever you want to call it. And I really want to find those and work with those, because I think that's a fish that is so gorgeous that once they get out there and the word gets out, people everywhere will be wanting them. So we can make that happen. And there's works in place for expanding on different varieties of angelfish, getting more colors in our angelfish stock, not just platinum and koi, but maybe some others. We also have in store, as you can tell, I've got some breeding projects, so tetra or two. These are all things that we're looking forward to selling. So thank you very much for your support, and thanks for everything you've done for me on the channel. And we're going to probably look at, in the very few days, I'm going to turn this rack around into a breeding rack. It's right now, it's just a bunch of junk on this rack, but that should be 4 tanks, like over here. And that's what we should see, 4 tanks, 1, 2, 3, 4. And tomorrow or the next day, if I get a chance, I'm going to get these all in breeding production. Now, how do I breed the fish? Okay, using these 4 tanks. Now, there's 4 of them, and you've got the overflows. They're all set. We're going to talk a lot about. We're going to see a lot of activity on these tanks in this 2024 year. But what the concept is, and I learned this from an official breeder, somebody who breeds fish in Florida, who's retired now. And this individual explained that what they do, for example, when they're breeding, what is it? Hi, Roman. Thank you for joining. So glad to see you. Cardinal tetras. They would take a few cardinal tetras and put them in the first tank, and a couple cardinal in the second, and the third, and the fourth. So on a certain day, all the pairs go into the tanks. Boop, 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 boop. And so that's what I'm saying up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do 4 next week, and then my other tanks, which are sitting here idle, will all be up and running, and then I'll do 8 tanks. Now, I have some barbs. For example, I might have 5 or 8 female barbs, and I want to put a male with each one. And I go 1, 2, 3. So what I do is I'm trying to produce a big number of the same one. Now, after you put them together, you'll find that 1 pair didn't do anything. 2 pairs didn't do anything, but 3 pairs did. So you'll still get a good number, and then those tanks that didn't produce anything, I can use them for something else. I'll throw together maybe some Hexazona barbs or that I have, and I'll put them together and throw them in a tank, and so start another. But each tank will be used or utilized. But what this individual was saying is that you take the pairs away, and a week later you put them back together, and you keep doing that every week, and the fish get used to it, and they finally realize that I'm seeing a male. The female is being obstinate. She doesn't want to lay, but then she sees a male every week, and this little pushing every week, and then sit for 6 days without a male. Then 1 day with a male. Eventually, she's going to be in condition, and she's going to say, "Hey, I'm getting used to this," and next thing you know, she'll start breeding. So that's how they keep them breeding. If you don't breed your fish regularly, they can become, I don't want to use the word stagnant, that's not really the word, but they get to the point where the fish don't want to breed because the females are full of eggs. They just can't output. So they're kind of like stuck. And that's the reason. So that gives you an idea of what he was doing and what they're doing at the fish farms and why they're successful, because they keep them breeding, and they'll just keep breeding them until, they get in the habit of doing so. And they can output a good number of eggs. The egg scatterers, the tetras, the barbs, and all these fish, many of them can be conditioned this way. So we're going to see if that works for the penguins, or also known as the hockey sticks. We're going to see if this works for the tiger barbs. I have green tiger barbs. I also want to see this. The mascara barbs are different. In that case, I'm not. It's too much hassle. You can't net them. I already explained how hard it is to net them. So in that case, it's a little different. What we do is we're going to put in egg trap in one end, and when they start breeding, then you take out the egg trap, but keep pretty much a clear or barren tank. And with a clear and barren tank, they're going to see the egg trap as the only spawning site in the tank, and then they'll go over there and do their thing. I've seen them many times. I got it on film too. They come together like this. They go, bam. That's what they do. They come up, they kind of like freeze together, and then bam, they kind of twist their bodies together, and out spews eggs and milk everywhere. And then those eggs get eaten up as quick as you can from the neighboring fish. Not the ones doing the breeding, they're usually too involved and they're not doing it. But if you have other fish in the tank, gobble, 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 you know, they start eating the eggs. But the ones that fall down below through the grill will be the ones trapped. And so when that happens, that's how you will catch the eggs of the mascara barbs. And you can do the same thing. I hope you're still with us, Chris. You can do the same thing with your fish. And I hope you can, because I want some of those earliest barbs. They're really nice. I like to raise some of those too. They're very nice. They're one of the Dawkinsy genus. I think the Aurelius are actually quite colorful. Quite colorful. Even though every one is colorful in its own right. If you've ever seen black spot barbs, when they're in color, the pink and the green hues that are together are just outstanding. Beautiful fish. And they're one of those fish, like I told you, when they're babies, they look like little tiger barbs. They're tiny. They don't look like much. And then they get a little bigger and they look like what I have, and they're just silver fish with a black spot, right? Don't look like much. And then at some point in time, I'm not saying exactly how it comes to be or how it passes to be, these fish continue to get more beautiful and more beautiful as they age. And that's not true with all fish. For example, I'll give you one beautiful example, very simple. The very first one that comes to mind is the pleco that looks like striped with red. I can't think of the name right now. But when they're babies, they're bright reddish orange striped. And they're very attractive, but when they get to be adults, they kind of lose it, and they lose their intense colors, and they become like, they're a little more normal, just any other striped pleco. So that's the thing. I mean, you know, young fish don't last young forever. They grow up quickly, right? And that's why. Yeah, I need to get that. Yeah, the candy cane, the 397s. Yeah, it's the wood-eating ones. Yeah, the ones I'm thinking of. Thank you, Jeff. You're always there for us, Jeff. Thank you for being a moderator. And I do appreciate everybody who's been with us. And those, we're going to be doing lots of activity this year. This year, there will be more definite videos and discussions like this one tonight, if you've enjoyed it tonight. There's going to be a lot more discussions on different subjects, and we're breeding projects like we have set up. And these discussions will be put out in video form or live stream form, and they're going to be more advertised. So I know I've just been a little lax or haphazard. I just grabbed the camera and just went live, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to be," and so we'll just let you know that I will probably, it seems most likely that if all goes well, I will set next Friday at the same time, 9 o'clock, for a live stream. And in the meantime, there might be some videos put out here and there, but the members will all get a chance to see it. If you're a member, you'll get to see it. Those first hand, of course. But thank you for you individuals who are members and support the channel, and we're going to talk more about there's some of the worms, the live foods. We're going to talk about the development of some very interesting, I do have, I may as well unveil this now. I bought a 3D printer. I just have one problem with it. And we're going to be using it to create some very interesting contraptions that will be handy dandy in the fish room. Unfortunately, what I have to say about it is I haven't figured out a place to put it. So it's still in the box. I haven't even pulled it out of the box. And the reason is because I don't have a good place for it. But be that as it may, I'll deal with that problem. And then once we get going and we're showing some of the neat things, we're going to do some printing. And I would like to do some designing too, because one of the things I'd like to design is a means. Like, for example, I showed you the egg trap for the Lucipinnis, right? Wouldn't it be nice if the egg trap for the Lucipinnis was such that it would give us a constant flow and suck up all those little fry that are zipping around and just put them into a breeder box? And that system from Blinks Aquatics, of course, we've been using it for breeding this is it here. I haven't got it going right now since I got back from vacation, but we've bred a lot of Danios using this, and we're going to do some CPDs, and I really honestly want to get some baby fish fried from this thing. It works, but I think that for the Lucipinnis, I'm going to need to do a little bit of tweaking in the concept. I'm going to have for example, I'll show you what I mean. I think I have one down here. Let me see. Yeah. I don't know if this is going to work, but this should work. Now, you've probably seen one of these, but if you've seen one, it's actually designed not for fish. This is a cave. Pretty big one too. So you set it at the bottom, and what I want to do is just like we saw, is I want to set, oh, here we go again. Alexa, fish room on. I want to set it so that it sits on top of a grill, and then we'll have a lift tube that will just continuously suck the water from underneath this, and as the babies are laid inside this cave, they'll be brought out of the tank into a safe area where they can be collected. Now, I know somebody's already thought of this kind of contraption. Question is, has anybody done it? So we'll see. And those are just some of the exciting things that are in my mind. Place it like an appliance and the missus will never notice. You know, Roman, I know that's a joke. Yeah, I know. I mean, my wife was a housekeeper for 16 years, and she knows about surfaces and how many surfaces she has to dust or clean. And she just looks at a surface and, shudders when she sees more than 3 items on the surface. That is the way she is. I mean, she takes my things and just piles it onto my desk whenever she sees something I've set down, and now that won't work. Yeah, and I unfortunately I wish I could just take it over to the grow out fish house and set it up there and use it there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of there's a dog there, and the hair isn't very helpful keeping the surface or the material clean, and so I don't think it will work well. But we'll work out something. I'm going to find out something, we'll figure it out. But I've never used a 3D printer before. I've got all the material, and we're going to make some fry system. We're going to do all kinds of things. There's a lot in the works. We can't have it. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was a fish room in a night. So that's just the way it is. We're going to have to work with that. So thank you, everybody. Those are some tips and things that are coming down the pike, and we're looking forward to it. And it's just a matter of putting the hand to the plow and getting it done. The filament doesn't like humidity. That's good to know. I guess you've had some experience, Roland. Maybe if you do have experience using 3D printers, I definitely want to hear more from you. So And the humidity, it's interesting, the humidity in the wintertime here is really good. Right now in this room, it says 54%, but it's down to 38% in most days. And the dehumidifier doesn't even run in this fish room. It gets quite low. And right now it's just a little warmer. It's 79. I think it's because I have the fan off. And so, thank you so much. Shady Great, it's getting late. And I thank you everybody from the East Coast to the West Coast. Thank you all for joining us here in Canada and also in the United States. Many of you are in the United States. Some of you, like I think Jeff Kane, I think you're north of me. I'm in Canada, but you're north of me because you are indeed further north. If you're in, aren't you in Minnesota? And it just amazes me when I look on the map and I see where I live and I realize Canada is not north of the United States. Most of it is, but you know, not all of it. So when you go and see that, it's quite a revelation. Thank you so much. And we're looking for northern Wisconsin. Yeah, definitely, you're north of me. So you got colder weather than we got here. So thank you so much. Leave your questions, your comments, and is there any question I didn't get answered tonight? Well, the moderators should be on the lookout for questions I didn't answer because I didn't see the question, and they would always notify me, hey, so-and-so's got a question, right? That's what I really appreciate about the moderators who are able to do that. So I haven't seen any notifications that I missed something. So obviously, if you feel or something comes to you in mind right after that, be sure, please, to go down to the comment section of this video, leave your comment, I will answer you. And I thank you all very much. There's been some interesting comments. In fact, I will probably keep a running tab of all comments that are of interest, and we could do a mailbag, and I could just actually mention them on the following live stream. So that would be something I'd want to do. So thank you, Jeff, and of course, you were catching fish tonight, I know, it was hard. And now you're catching them in fours, right? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 30, 28, 32. Yep, I know. See y'all and have a great night. And as always, please keep it real.